Okay, everyone, we have another video on the English Civil War, and this is the results of the Civil War, which was the Glorious Revolution. And it was glorious because it had so many positive changes for the people of England. The monarchy became a limited monarchy. It was reined in by the Constitution, and the big part of the Constitution were the Bill of Rights. What we want to do today is we want to look at these rights that people have, and I'm going to let you pause, and we're going to try to understand which area of natural rights, life, liberty, or property, do these rights that the English have and later were transferred and changed a little bit by the American Constitution and the Bill of Rights. So let's look at the, and this is an assignment in your textbook. So in 1689, after William and Mary took the throne, an act declaring the rights and liberties of the subjects and the setting of the succession of the crown. That means when William and Mary took the crown, they had to guarantee certain rights to the English people. What a fantastic document that this was written down, and the king and queen would be held accountable, and Parliament would be held accountable. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at some of the major provisions of the Bill of Rights. Look at this guy here. What is he doing? He's talking. So take a guess at which right this one is. I'll pause this right now, and you can talk for a minute. Let's see what right it is. It's the freedom of speech. If you had freedom of speech, you got it right. Now, freedom of speech falls under what domain? Is it life, liberty, or property? Well, if you think about it, what is it? What is it? What is it? You come up with the answer, and let me know if you got it right. I'm going to pause for a second. This bill protects freedom of speech. During discussion and debate, a member of Parliament could say whatever they wanted to about a matter, because free thought should be expressed in speech. And they would not be worried if they'd be thrown into jail. Americans took this on. This freedom guarantees liberty. If you had liberty, you got it right. Let's go to the next freedom of speech. We have a guy here. He's in chains. So what right is that? And we'll give you a second to think about it. Go ahead and think while I pause the video. If you had habeas corpus and punishment in an absolute monarchy, basically, if a king wanted someone in jail, they would throw him in jail. They would torture them to get a confession. So they would cut your arm off and say, you need to confess to a crime or we're going to cut your arm off. Well, you'd confess to the crime. The idea of habeas corpus is this, is that a citizen can't be held in prison without being charged with a specific crime. You also are protected from torture and punishment that's deemed to be cruel and unusual and did not fit the severity of the crime. So if you stole a loaf of bread, you can't lose your head. In addition, a citizen could not be charged an excessive amount of bail or a fine. Which right do these guarantee? Think about it among your friends, and I'm going to pause the video and you can come back and tell me what the answer is. There are two answers for this one. It was a trick question. The first is life. You can't lose your life unless it fits the crime. Now that has changed through the years, and some places don't even have the death penalty anymore because they don't feel the state has the right to take your life. In the United States, there are certain crimes that you can be executed for. So life is one of them, and the second one is liberty. You can't be charged and put in jail without having committed a crime, or at least been charged with it and found guilty. Let's go to the next one. We have a bunch of people there. You can see these are people who are powerful because of the wigs they wear, and this guy is carrying something here. Which right do you think it is? We'll pause for a second while you think about it. This is trial by jury, and this guy here with the bags, he's weighing things, and it's a jury of your peers. You would be a select group of people, and it would be your peers who would judge whether or not, or decide whether or not a crime had been committed. Any judgment, basically, in the past would be overturned by the monarch in the past. If the king wanted someone guilty and the trial was found him innocent, he would just step in. Well, Parliament said you can't do that anymore. An English citizen accused of a crime had the right to a trial by jury in which the monarch could not get involved. It had to be by his peers. This also has been adopted by the United States, and I'm going to give you a second to tell me what right this guarantees. If you said liberty, you got it right. This is your freedom, basically that you have the right to a jury of your peers and that the state can't step in once that trial begins. Let's go ahead to the next part here. You have someone here, he's handing a bag over to somebody, They doesn't look very happy. He looks pretty satisfied. What right do you think that is? If you said the power of the purse, you got it right. Now this means basically taxes can't be unreasonably given. The issue of who could levy taxes and for what purpose is a major source of problems between Parliament and the Crown. And it still is to this day in England and the United States. Sometimes people argue about who has the right to levy taxes. Basically, it is Congress in the United States or Parliament in England that have the right to levy taxes. After the Glorious Revolution, Parliament made sure that the Bill of Rights firmly stated only Parliament has the right to collect taxes, and Parliament decides where those taxes would be used. This is the same in the United States today. What liberty does this protect when you have to pay taxes and how it's determined? Talk about it among your friends. This would be the natural right of property. And so the three natural rights are represented: life, liberty, and property. John Locke was triumphant both in England and later on in the United States. Thanks for participating and have a great rougher day.